I tested my wife by saying, "All our money is gone, but what I saw." Her do next changed everything. Don't know what made me say it that night. Maybe it was insecurity. Maybe it was pride. Or maybe it was the quiet fear that one day I would discover I was loved only for what I provided, not for who I was. The thought had been sitting in my mind for months, growing heavier with every joke I heard from friends about gold diggers and conditional love. So I decided to test something that should never have been tested. She was sitting on the living room floor, helping our son with his math homework, her hair loosely tied back, her face calm and patient. When she saw me standing at the door, she smiled, and the same gentle smile she had given me since the early days of our marriage, when we had nothing but a rented room and borrowed furniture. "All our money is gone," I said. The words felt strange, almost unreal, as if someone else had spoken them. She blinked. "What do you mean?" "The investment failed. The savings, too. I made a mistake. We're broke." I forced my voice to shake, hoping it sounded convincing. For a moment, she didn't speak. I watched her carefully, waiting for panic, for blame, for anger. I expected questions about how irresponsible I had been. I expected fear in her eyes. Instead, she calmly told our son to finish his homework in his room. When he left, she stood up and walked toward me. Her expression wasn't furious. It was concerned. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. I almost forgot my script. "I ruined everything," I said, staring at the floor. "We might lose the house." She reached out and held my hands. They were warm, steady. "Money can come back," she said. "But if you break down, what will happen to us? I married you, not your bank account." Her words hit harder than any accusation could have. She didn't ask for details. She didn't demand explanations. Instead, she started talking about solutions, cutting expenses, selling some jewelry if needed, maybe finding part-time work. She spoke like we were a team facing a challenge, not like I was a man who had failed her. That night, she lay beside me in silence. I pretended to sleep, but I could feel her awake, her breathing uneven. She was scared, I could sense it, but she refused to let me see that fear. And as I stared into the darkness, guilt wrapped around my chest. I had expected her to prove something about her love. But in just a few quiet minutes, she had already shown me more loyalty and strength than I deserved. I woke up earlier than usual the next morning, my mind still heavy from the lie I had told. For a few seconds, I forgot everything. Then reality rushed back in. The fake loss, the test, the look on her face. I reached across the bed. She wasn't there. My heart skipped. The bathroom light was off. The kitchen was silent. A strange panic rose inside me. Had she left to clear her head? Had she gone to her parents' house? Was this the consequence of my stupidity? Then I noticed the cupboard door slightly open. Her jewelry box was missing. I walked to the living room and saw it on the table, empty. The gold bangles her mother had given her at our wedding were gone. The delicate necklace I had saved 3 months' salary to buy was gone too. Even the small earrings she wore on special occasions weren't there. A cold wave of guilt washed over me. Around noon, I heard the front door open. She stepped inside, her expression calm but tired. There were faint lines under her eyes, as if she hadn't slept at all. She held a small white envelope in her hand. "I went to the jeweler," she said gently. "It's not much, but it should help us manage for a while." My throat went dry. "You sold them?" She nodded almost casually. "They were just things. We need stability right now. Just things." Those bangles were the last memory of her mother. She used to polish them carefully every few months. I knew how much they meant to her, and yet she had let them go without hesitation. "I'm sorry," I muttered, meaning something entirely different from what she thought. She smiled faintly. "Don't apologize. We're in this together." Later that evening, I overheard her speaking quietly on the phone in the kitchen. She thought I was in the shower. "Yes, I can teach part-time," she was saying. "Even online classes are fine. Or stitching work from home. I have to support him now." Support him. She wasn't complaining. She wasn't blaming me. She was preparing to stand beside me. When she came back to the bedroom, she acted normal. She asked what I wanted for dinner. She even joked lightly, trying to lift my mood. But I saw the strain in her eyes. I had created a storm in her heart just to measure her love. And instead of doubting me, she had chosen sacrifice. That night I couldn't meet her gaze for long, because while I was pretending to lose money, she was proving she would give up everything without being asked. The days that followed felt heavier than I had imagined. I thought the lie would last a day or two, just long enough to see her reaction. But now it had stretched into something darker, something that was quietly hurting her. She changed in small ways at first. The grocery bags became lighter. The branded cereal our son loved disappeared from the kitchen shelf. She began writing everything down in a small notebook, expenses, bills, even the smallest purchases. When I asked what she was doing, she smiled and said, "Just planning." Planning for the disaster I had invented. One evening I came home earlier than usual. The house was quiet. I walked toward the bedroom and heard a soft sound from the bathroom. She was crying. Not loud, dramatic sobs. Just quiet, controlled tears. The kind you release when you don't want anyone to hear. I froze outside the door. My chest tightened. "I have to stay strong," she whispered to herself. "He's already broken." Broken. That's what she thought I was. I stepped back before she could notice me. Shame burned through me like fire. This wasn't a harmless test anymore. I was watching the woman I loved carry fear, alone because she thought I couldn't handle it. That night at dinner, she laughed with our son as if nothing was wrong. She told him stories, teased him about school, and even clapped when he showed her a drawing. But I noticed something small that shattered me. There was one piece of chocolate left in the fridge, her favorite. She had saved it for days. Our son asked if he could have it. She didn't hesitate. "Of course," she said brightly. "I'm not in the mood for sweets anyway." I knew that wasn't true. Later, when we lay in bed, she turned toward me and rested her head on my shoulder. "Even if we have to move to a smaller place," she said softly, "I'll be happy. As long as we're together." Together. She wasn't scared of poverty. She was scared of losing me emotionally. And suddenly I realized something horrifying. If I kept this lie going, I might actually lose her trust. The one thing more valuable than any money in our account. She was sacrificing comfort, sleep, and peace of mind for a problem that didn't even exist. And I was the one who created it. That was the night I knew I couldn't continue. Not because I was tired of pretending, but because I couldn't bear watching her suffer for a lie any longer. That night, I couldn't carry it anymore. She was folding laundry on the bed, her movements slower than usual. There were dark circles under her eyes now, the kind that come from sleepless nights and silent worries. She thought I didn't notice. She thought she was protecting me. "Can we talk?" I asked. She looked up immediately, concern flashing across her face. "Of course." "Did something happen?" "Yes," I thought. "I happened." I sat down on the edge of the bed, my hands trembling. "There's something I need to tell you." She stopped folding the clothes. "The money!" "It's not gone," I said quietly. "The investments are safe. The savings are untouched." She stared at me, not understanding at first. "What do you mean?" "I lied," I whispered. "I wanted to see what you would do. I wanted to test you." The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting could have been. Her face didn't twist in anger. It fell in hurt. "You tested me?" She repeated, her voice barely audible. "I was scared," I admitted. "I kept hearing people say women stay for security." I thought maybe if everything disappeared, you might too. Tears filled her eyes, but they didn't fall right away. "For 10 years, she said slowly. "I stood beside you when you were building your career, when we counted coins to pay rent, when we couldn't afford gifts for each other. Did you forget that?" I shook my head, unable to speak. "I sold my mother's bangles," she continued, her voice breaking now. "I applied for jobs. I stayed awake every night planning how to protect our family. And you were just watching?" Each word felt like a knife. "I'm sorry," I said, but the apology sounded weak even to me. She wiped her tears and looked at me with a sadness I had never seen before. "I don't need a rich husband," she said. "I need a husband who trusts me. Money disappearing wouldn't have broken me. But this..." She pressed her hand against her chest. "This hurts." That was the moment I realized the real damage wasn't about fear of poverty. It was about doubt. I had doubted the one person who had never doubted me. "I was wrong," I said firmly. "I let insecurity control me. I promise you, I will never question your love like this again." She didn't respond immediately. But after a long pause, she sat beside me. "Marriage isn't a test," she said softly. "It's a partnership." That night, we didn't talk much more. But as she leaned against me, I understood something clearly. Trust, once shaken, takes time to rebuild. And this time, I would be the one proving myself.